in question, but after a recent update from Mike McDaniel, he says Tua has officially been ruled out. That was about an hour ago. The line skyrocketed up to 13, Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo's going to crush him.
Skylar Thompson.
Oh, this will be terrible. This will be a blowout.
It sounds like Teddy Bridgewater is going to be a backup. He has a broken finger from when he tried to make a tackle.
No, this is... Well, the Buffalo...
I mean, if you watch any of that Jets-Dolphins game, Colin,
Skylar
Thompson cannot move the football.
At all. So
Tyreek Hill's not 100% healthy.
Ask yourself this. Now, all the people, all the media that wanted Tua protected, were you really helping him? You think inside those walls, this franchise now is all in on Tua? They're going to go get another quarterback.
Well, there could be like six of them out there. Jimmy G.
That's right.
We don't know what's going on with Lamar, Carr.
But all the media people, protect Tua. Were you protecting him? He wants to play. The organization now is protecting their butt. They're not going to let him play. And Tua's career, to me in Miami, you've got to go get a guy.
I read that he had to pass concussion protocol through 3 different doctors. Like, the NFL is really cracking down on this, as they should.
Yeah.
But that makes it nearly impossible for him to come back.
Well, and I've said this before, this is a very nuanced conversation. Everybody jumps out, protect Tua, protect Tua. Tua's like, hey, man, this is my career. I got one shot at this.
Yeah.
This is it. I couldn't stay healthy in Alabama. I can't stay healthy in Miami. Tua wants to be out there. So everybody got what they wanted, but Tua's career is probably over as a starter in this league. Nobody's going to spend money on Tua as a starter. And this kid has busted his butt since he was 12 years old. So it's a much more nuanced discussion than everybody wants to do. Protect, protect, protect.
Well, you say he's done as a starter. You know he's thinking, I'm putting in the work in the offseason. I'm coming back as a starter next year.
Okay, but concussions are different.
I know.
This is
tough.
This is not 1988. If Aikman gets a concussion or Steve Young, we just go, hey, we'll see you next week. Those days are over.
Yeah.
And concussions are what scare teams. Guys can overcome a knee injury or shoulder.
Yeah.
Concussions, brain damage, the league fears it, teams fear it.
Yeah. What do you... I don't even know what you tell the guy.
Well,
if you're the Dolphins front office, like, hey, man.
My this morning, how I feel bad for Tua. Because I think deep down, Tua wants to play. Yet sometimes you have to protect a player from himself.
So he's going to have now from January to August 8 months of protection. Is that, talking to the neurologist, is that sufficient time for him to get back on the football field?
Of course it is. But the question becomes, who's going to dedicate themselves to somebody who has struggled with this? That's why this conversation is much more nuanced. People want you to believe it's easy.
Yeah, black and white. It's not a black and white issue.
It's not these players' careers. This is not a journalist. You can be a journalist for 70 years. You can make watches, be a landscaper. You can do a lot. Quarterback, you get one shot to be the guy. Drew Brees is an outlier. And if you get hurt or you aren't dependable, you're out. They'll move on to the next crop of guys. And this is Tua's career, his family, his football, his faith, what matters to him. And so I have sympathy for Tua. I want him protected, but I bet you deep down privately, that kid wants to play.
Of course he does, yeah.
And by the way,
listen, he had a very good run for like 2 months in the league where he was an MVP candidate.
Go back to that game in Buffalo. Remember that Miami game in Buffalo? Miami
in December. Yeah, he was
the
good.
Bills. Tua's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, the only chance they had this weekend is Tua. Tua is the only chance they have. Now he's out.
And you're right. They need a backup plan going into next year. You can't have this happen again.
Right. And so I think these discussions, Twitter makes everything simple. Life's not simple. No. Politics isn't simple. Nothing's as simple as the internet makes it. J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
Start with the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Dallas Cowboys. Rough season for Tampa Bay. Ups and downs. Nearly got swept by Carolina, but came back and beat them the second time. Obviously, Monday's wildcard matchup with the Cowboys is massive. Not only did Tom Brady and the Bucks offense seem to click in the final game when they qualified for the playoffs against Carolina, but the team's health continues to improve. Here's what Brady said.
We have 7 days to prepare. We've got kind of the whole week. I don't know. I'm sure everyone's a little bit day-to-day right now. I'm hoping we're pretty healthy. I mean, I believe we're going to be as healthy as we've been all year, which is kind of exciting. To get some guys back that haven't been in there, and then see if we can go play our best football. Because I even said after the game, it sucks being 8-9. You know, you're playing against teams that have way better records, 12-5, whatever it is. But you know what? The only thing that matters is who wins that day.
Yeah, Tampa is not good enough to win multiple games. Are they good enough at home to win a game against Dallas? That's the only. They're not going to win. They're not going to San Francisco. They're just not talented enough. And by the way, after they played Dallas, they're healthy now. They may not be healthy after Dallas. They get 3 guys hurt a week. I like Dallas a lot. A lot.
This is the toughest game to really handicap because you see how it comes off the 3, right? It used to be Dallas was favored by 3, now 2.5. That means there's some big money on Tampa.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, this defense, Colin, I looked at pressure rates. Todd Bowles historically blitzes among the most in the league.
Yes.
He loves to do it. Well, he didn't blitz a lot this year. He fell down to 10th. But they're getting no pressure at all. So they basically need to generate pressure with blitzes, and it's still not happening. I think Dak could have a real big bounce back this week.
I think so.
Against a secondary that's a little overrated. I think people are just betting the Tom Brady narrative, right? Like, hey, Tom Brady, he's never lost to Dallas. And it's fun to gin up this McCarthy in trouble stuff.
I think my favorite play of the weekend is Dallas.
Ooh, that's risky.
Well, listen, you know I don't like big favorites. I do think Buffalo's going to clobber Miami. That's my second favorite.
We'll talk about that here in a minute.
But Seattle's getting a ton of points. Do I think Seattle uglies it up and keeps it close and loses? Yeah, I don't. A lot of these games, Jacksonville Chargers comes down to, is Mike Williams ready to play? If he starts, I'll take the Chargers. If not, I'll take the Jags. There's a lot of things here hanging. I feel like I know what the game is going to look like. Dallas and Tampa. I have a sense of what it's going to look like. Dallas is going to come in super focused after being humiliated. They're going to play really hard and really well, and at some point, this is a Tampa offense that is limited.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have a lot of vertical components here. That Evans-Carolina game's a total outlier.
So there's 2 games this weekend. You just highlighted them. Chargers, Jags. So the Chargers got destroyed by Jacksonville at home. Now they go to Jacksonville. Dallas got destroyed 19-3, kind of embarrassed by Tampa. Now they go to Tampa.
I like the team that got beaten both.
I'm kind of with you on that.
Yeah.
Next story, we are talking about the Giants. Giants-Vikings, listen, they're in the playoffs. Brian Daboll, first-time head coach, gets into the playoffs, and their first appearance since 2016 when they lost to the Packers in the wild-card round. That was, of course, the Odell Beckham boat trip game the Giants got. I think it was 38-10 or something. Despite the lack of playoff experience on the roster, Brian Daboll does not seem worried.
I've been in so many different situations. The first year that I was part of a Super Bowl, the quarterback didn't have any playoff experience there at New England. Some of the guys did, some didn't. We had some experience at Buffalo. We, lost. I think it's really what you make out of it, Jordan, is the experience probably is overrated, to be honest with you. It's how you prepare, how you practice, and ultimately how you play the game and coach the game on whatever day it is.
Well, think last year. Joe Burrow, no experience, won 2 road games. Matt Stafford, never won a playoff game. I mean, we had 2 teams last year, 2 stories with quarterbacks, coaches, make long, like McVay had made a playoff run before, but Zach Taylor, we didn't know 2 years ago if he was the right coach. So Cincinnati is a great example of no experience, coach, staff, players, anybody, and they were better on the road than at home.
Well, I think they were at home against the Raiders in the first round, right?
Then they back-to-back road wins.
Correct. So I'll give you 3 other quarterbacks. I keep running notes throughout the week. 3 other quarterbacks who made first-time starts last year in the playoffs. Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
Lost by, I think, 30.
He was a kid.
Kyler Murray. Arizona lost by about 30 to the Rams.
Not a great team, a kid.
Mac Jones.
Okay, a kid.
Lost by about 30.
Okay.
What is Daniel Jones? Is he a kid?
Well, Daniel's been in this league now 4 years.
You're making a lot. By the way, New York Giants fans are upset that we talk Jets so much. Now we're going to get a lot of Giants this week because they're in the playoffs.
This is one of my favorite upset picks of the year, the Giants. But now everybody loves the Giants.
That's the problem.
And now I don't like them
as much. Now are you flipping? Are you flipping in Minnesota?
I'm not flipping. I think it's a perfect matchup. I think what they do well, because the Giants' 2 young tackles, Thomas and Evan Neal, are pretty darn good. So Daniel's going to have some time to operate. He'll need it. So the Vikings aren't going to have a great pass rush, nor can they stop the run. I think the ugly Giants offense can ball control this thing with Saquon and Daniel moving. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah. I just get to these, high leverage third downs. 3rd and 7, Daniel Jones. Who are you looking for? Richie James? Who's the tight end, the guy who broke his face and now he's back? Like, I just don't know if anybody outside of Saquon and Daniel Jones can do anything.
Well, that's been the story all year, and they're in the playoffs.
Yeah. All right. Final story. Another playoff game. Tua Tagovailoa missed the last 2 games due to a concussion.